I have the pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to invite the chair of the session with the welcome remarks, Honorable Navendra Raj Joshi, the Minister for Industries.
Right Honorable Prime Minister, Sri Pushpa Kamal Dahal, Prachandji, President of Nepali Congress and former Prime Minister, Honorable Sir Bahadur Dewaju, Chairman of that UML and former Prime Minister, Honorable KP Sharma Oliji, Honorable Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister, former Finance Minister, Honorable Ministers, and the President of the Asian Infrastructure Bank, Honorable Ministers, Excellencies, distinguished guests, friends of press, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pleasure welcoming you to the Nepal Investment Summit 2017. Thank you, Honorable Prime Minister. Thank you, Sir Bahadur Dewaju. Thank you, KP Oliji, and all of who are present here. I would like to thank for gracing the event and our special guest, Honorable Finance Minister of India, Sri Arun Jaitley, who will join us in the afternoon, and President of Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, Mr. Jin Liquin, for taking your precious time and honoring us with your presence. On behalf of the government and citizens of Nepal, I welcome our distinguished guests at the inauguration of the Nepal Investment Summit. I especially welcome our foreign guests who have taken time from their busy schedule and are here for this summit. I express our heartfelt gratitude for your gracious presence. In my role as Minister of Industry, the one lesson I have drawn deep into my heart, it is this: Nepal needs to create jobs for millions of young and eager men and women, and that the act of creating, nurturing, and growing industries, both small and large, is the most proven way to generate jobs. But that need help millions of our fellow citizens to not only survive, but also thrive as human beings who can make full use of their potential. Here I recall the idea of our leader of democratic movement, that BP Koirala, the first elected Prime Minister of Nepal, that prosperity of citizen has its worth when the nation itself prospers. I am in politics and became an activist since early age because I see it as a means to enable millions of people to share fruits of prosperity, and I am fully engaged in this goal of translating the potential. For all this to happen, we need investments, not only funds, but more importantly, the know-how, the contacts, and the connections to the global market, where the customers are made in Nepal, goods and services are sought for. Ladies and gentlemen, in the last 2.5 decades or so, despite our political and other associated challenges, we have significantly raised the life expectancy of our citizens. We have drastically lowered the infant mortality rate. More Nepali children go to school than at any time in our history. We have lowered our annual rate of population growth. We have a generation of young and eager to learn Nepalese who want to have fulfilling and productive work for a better future, for themselves, for their society, and for their country. Indeed, in many ways today, ours is a healthier, more educated, and more aware country than any times in our history. Committed, dedicated, and purposive Nepal is what you get in Nepal of 2017. Yes, there are challenges. Yes, there are difficulties. But our people's ambitions and aspirations have risen to such a degree that we as politicians realize the fact and are committed to do our best to serve the people's aspirations for the better life. We have already reset the second generation of reforms to make it more growth and investment friendly so that we can realize with our mission and the aspirations of the people. Respected guests, we have made considerable and historic progress in the political front with promulgation of the new constitution, enshrining the democratic principles of the country that has ushered us into a more stable environment. There is broad agreement among the political parties that the phase of transition, political change is over, and now our prime focus is on the economic transformation. Last year, I campaigned to open up a few previously shut companies and succeeded in reopening the companies that has long been dead, not because they produced inferior products or lacked a market, but because they lacked good management. We are hosting this summit with similar will and determination. Dear respected friends, there are business opportunities here in which global capital can be deployed to unlock the market and to spread prosperity. To that end, Nepal wants funds, know-how and collaboration, and in return, Nepal is prepared to give you opportunities that are at the frontier in tourism, in infrastructure, in hydro, in public services such as transport, healthcare, education, in mining. The possibilities are long. Nepal is open for business, harness it. Here I recall the idea of the commander of the People's Movement of 1990, late Goddess Man Singh, who envisioned economic revolution as succession to political revolution. This guides me to go further. All leading political parties, be they in government or in the opposition, do agree that ensuring prosperity to the people of Nepal should be the primary focus of the further political discourse of Nepal. The very fact that all top leaders of the major political parties have joined in this summit, it is testimony to it. Using this platform, I express my gratitude for sending such a strong signal of political commitment of the nation. I can safely say that whatever we do for promoting investment is backed by the commitment of the political leaders, government of Nepal, and will of the people of the nation at large. For me, investment should be a win-win partnership of investor and the host country. The investor should be able to get return in proportion of the risk taken. Nepal offers numerous lucrative sectors and projects for investment. Obviously, water and energy-related projects, infrastructure-based projects, high-value, low-volume agriculture-related projects, tourism, including destination development and promotion, health and education, projects oriented towards exports, mines and minerals come to the fore whenever we talk of areas of competitive advantage of Nepal. Nepal is ready for investment. We are working with various stakeholders to provide a conducive atmosphere to come and to do business. To expedite the approval process for FDI, as the chairman of the Industrial Promotion Board, I please that there will be no backlog and delays in the investment process. Yesterday only we passed the FDI amounting around 30 billion rupees. In terms of policies and laws, Nepal is perhaps one of the most open economies in the region. We allow 100% foreign ownership in most of the sectors. Our tax rates are lower than most of the countries in South Asia. The government is receptive to the constructive ideas coming from the investors. The reforms in our system and procedures are ongoing. Since the government took office, we have been able to complete the process of enactment of Industrial Enterprise Act, Special Economic Zones Act. The company law is in the final stage in the parliament, which is expected to make to the exit easier and faster. The law governing foreign investment is being improved to accommodate more reforms. We provide unequivocal guarantee that the investment will not be expropriated and will treat the industries owned by foreign investors at par with those owned by our own nationals. We allow investors to take their profits and capital back in the same currency as they have brought investment. The policy and legal framework governing entry, operation, and exit of investment in Nepal will be dealt in greater length in our consequent sessions. Nepalese have made name and fame in history for their bravery, simplicity, endurance, and honesty. These are attributes which come handy not only in fighting wars, but also in running factories and workplaces. Today, I welcome you to the land of Himalayas, the land of peace, birthplace of Lord Buddha, and a culture so diverse and rich in history that one needs to see to believe. I call on my foreign participants not to be confined to your hotel room only, but call on you to venture out and visit places, if possible, outside of Kathmandu too. I would like to put on record our appreciation to all the political parties as well. This has sent a clear signal to the potential investors that Nepal is truly ready for business. Let us give one another a chance, find ways to work together to match demand with supply, to push for workable governance and management models so that the funds, expertise, contacts, and collaboration flow between us, Nepal's industries and Nepal's people will benefit together with global investors. Within 10 years, let the situation prevail where no Nepali citizen would have to go abroad in search of job. For me, making investment happen, this summit happen is a continuous process. This summit is only a beginning. In this mission of building a prosperous Nepal, your gracious presence and participation has indeed made it historic. For Nepal, it is truly a historic moment, and I am pleased to welcome you on board at this epoch-making event. I also again welcome you all and expect fruitful discussions in the ensuing sessions. May I wish a very pleasant and fruitful stay here in Nepal, for all of our guests, and I also extend sincere thanks for your admirable and highly encouraging participation. Thank you, everyone. Thanks.
Thank you, Honourable Minister, for your warm words of welcome. Of course, the best wishes, and especially for setting the ambience for all of us to tread on in the 2 days that we are here. And yes, for letting us know where this assemblage is coming from and where we aspire to head on to. Said that, ladies and gentlemen, we now arrive to the moment that we all are here for. The formal inauguration of the inauguration ceremony and the event itself. Please join me in placing my humble request to our Chief Guest, Right Honourable Prime Minister Pushpakamal Dahal Prachanda, to kindly walk to the right of the stage and do the honors of formally inaugurating the Nepal Investment Summit 2017 by lighting the panas. Panas are traditional oil filled lamp. Thank you, Right Honourable Prime Minister. Harnessing investment opportunities in Nepal. That is what Nepal Investment Summit 2017 is all about, ladies and gentlemen. And yes, the lighting of the panas, which is a custom and considered auspicious before any beginning in Nepal, and the unveiling of the Nepal Investment Summit 2017 marks the formal inauguration of this awaited and very important event. And thank you, Right Honourable Prime Minister, and all our honourable and distinguished guests herein. Said and done that, in fact, ladies and gentlemen, we head forth now to the keynote speeches. We shall be hearing from two distinguished personalities. One who has led and closely experienced Nepal's political and economic spheres, and the other, an eminent personality with a profound knowledge and experience of working closely with economies while steering economic institutions around the globe. Ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, I have the pleasure first of introducing our first keynote speaker, who has served as the Finance Minister of Nepal for 6 times. A senior leader from Nepali Congress, he represents a rare combination of an active politician and a technocrat. He is credited for his role in ushering in liberal economic reforms in Nepal. Recipient of the Finance Minister of the year 2016, Global and Asia Pacific by the Bankers magazine of Financial Times Group London for the efforts and the success he was able to garner by garnering the financial and other support in the aftermath of earthquake, the devastating earthquake in Nepal. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our first keynote speaker of this inauguration ceremony, Honorable Dr. Ram Sharan Mahat.
Mr. Chairman, Honorable Prime Minister, former Prime Ministers, Ministers, and President of the Asian Infrastructure Development Investment Bank, Mr. Jean Likin, friends, and distinguished delegates from various parts of the world, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor to have been invited to speak in this eminent gathering dominated by a galaxy of eminent personalities. I particularly take this opportunity to welcome the President of our new development partner, Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, Mr. Jean Likin, who is an old friend of mine from our early days as Hubert Humphrey Fellows. His stint in the World Bank as Executive Director, Vice President of the Asian Development Bank, and subsequently the President of Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. And it is a new development partner, as we are all aware. Nepal is one of the founding members of the organization. And under the dynamic and extremely able leadership of Jean Likin, Asian Infrastructure Bank is doing a tremendous job, has taken off with a good start. We look forward working with his organization for the development of infrastructure in our country. I have been particularly asked by the hosts to speak on the reforms, economic reforms Nepal has introduced, and particularly because of my association with the reform process, to attract, particularly to promote investment promotion. Nepal's economic liberalization followed political liberalization, especially after the political change of 1990, when we had liberal democracy and the first elected government was in place. We started liberalizing our economy to promote more investment, to open space for all sectors practically. Private sector, private investment, local and foreign, social sector, non-governmental organizations, cooperatives, community organizations. So for the mammoth task of development, which is a total operation, not operation of a single organization, we need space, we need to encourage all sectors of the society, public, private, community, and cooperatives and whatnot, everything. Before the initiation of these reforms, Nepal had a very restrictive policy to private investment, whether in industry, services sector, trade, everywhere. It was restrictive, policy regime was restrictive to private investment and foreign investment. Industrial sector was dominated by a plethora of regulations, licensing regime and all that. Trade control, especially external trade control, through tariff walls, through licensing system, and through import licensing system, and all types of restrictions were there. And there was dual exchange rate as far as foreign exchange rate was concerned. People, entrepreneurs, exporters, which earn foreign exchange, had to surrender their foreign income, foreign exchange to the central bank at a price much lower than the market price. Infrastructure sector, like power generation, like airlines, like telecommunication, were off limits to the private sector. It was the sole monopoly of the government. Similarly, banking sector, financial sector, insurance sector, more than 90% was government owned. There was restriction on private entry. So practically everything was government control. It restricted the entry of private sector. It restricted the entry of foreign investment. So development was constrained. Economic opportunities were constrained. So the new government, after the political change in 1990, initiated a series of reforms, plethora of reforms, sweeping changes to give space to, as I say, practically every section of the society. We brought in new Industrial Enterprise Act to pave the way for the licensing of private investment, particularly in the industrial sector, except for those industries which were in the negative list. We brought in new Foreign Investment and Technology Transfer Act to pave the way for 100% foreign equity in industries. Similarly, we brought sweeping changes in the trade regime. Now, previous quantitative restriction and licensing system in foreign trade in the import was dismantled, and everything was possible to be imported under open generalized licensing, except for those products which were in the negative list. And we introduced partial convertibility in foreign exchange, making it possible, it's fully convertible in all current accounts. So there was incentive to earn more foreign currency. Similarly, we opened space for private sector in the banking, insurance, and other financial sector, which brought in quite a large number of new banks, financial institutions, insurance companies. Not just that, private airlines were open. We introduced open air policy. We also brought in private sector, foreign investment, telecommunication sector. Similarly, now even energy production, power production was made possible for the private sector. I'm suffering from very bad throat, so I'm sorry. So all these sweeping changes, not just that. Reforms were introduced in the revenue system, in the taxation system. New tax system, value-added taxes, was brought in. It's a modern scientific tax system. Income tax law was made compatible with modern standards. It was modernized. Similarly, reforms were introduced in other systems also. The whole public expenditure pattern was reviewed. First review was made of public expenditure. And there was more concentration to the social sector now, to poverty alleviation, to rural development, to health, education. There was pronounced emphasis on the social sector. So this was a new change brought in. Decentralization Act was introduced to give more power to the local bodies. As a result of this, what was the outcome? What was the result? The growth rate in the 90s reached at some years up to 7%. This is the record growth rate achieved in Nepal's history. So the early part of 90s recorded high economic growth. Export sector boomed, and export earnings finance as much as more than 50% of our import bill. Now it is less than 10%. Export-import ratio is less than 10% at the moment. It is a dismal figure. But in the late 90s, our export earnings covered more than 50% of our import trade. Similarly, new multinational corporations entered the country and everything was booming. Financial sector expanded, economic activities expanded, airlines, telecommunications, similarly private investment in hydropower expanded. But the later part of the 90s, now political instability started. The whole decade after that was dominated by political turmoil, turbulence, insurgency, conflict, political instability. That reduced our growth prospects. So we could not sustain the high growth rate achieved in the 90s in the subsequent decade. But even despite that, we made substantial achievements, substantial progress in a number of fields, particularly in the social sector. As the chairman was mentioning about progress in the social sector. Progress in social sector, Nepal's progress in social sector is rated as one of the best in the world. The Human Development Report published by the United Nations in 2010 categorizes Nepal as one of the top 3 performers in social development. Average life of a Nepali increased by 15 years in 25 years. In 1990, the average Nepali lived 54 years. Now, average Nepali lives 70 years, 70, 71 years. This happened in a period of 1 generation, about 20 years. Maternal mortality rate declined by almost 75%. Infant mortality rate, child mortality rate declined by almost 75%. These are credible achievements. Similarly, in the Global Hunger Index published by IFRI, was based in Washington DC, International Food Research Organization. Nepal's status in matters of hunger as measured by stunted growth below 5 years and malnutrition. Nepal's status is the best in South Asia. We have left behind other South Asian countries in hunger. Similarly, other indicators, our poverty declined from about 50% of the population to now at the moment, the ratio is something like 21-22%. People living below poverty line declined from 50 years to 22 years. And our macro management, everybody speaks highly of our macro management. Institutions like the World Bank, Asian Development Bank, IMF, and other development partners are appreciative of the sound and prudent fiscal management, macro management Nepal has done. Our dependence on foreign assistance has declined tremendously. In the early 90s, 2/3 of our development assistance, development budget came from foreign sources. Now it is only 1/3. 2/3 is financed internally. Our revenue situation improved tremendously because of the expansion of economic activities. Like our revenue GDP ratio, people are surprisingly the highest in South Asia. Our revenue GDP ratio is about 20%, although it is not a highly taxed country. This is because of the expansion of economic activities, and partly I suspect it is because of the underestimation of our national accounts. So these were very credible achievements despite the period of long turbulence and turmoil. Now, after the end of conflict and the beginning of peace process, normalization of the political situation, now we thought that a new generation of reforms is necessary. A new second generation reforms is necessary, because one-time reform is not sufficient. You have to keep up with the changing times, changing situation, with the global trends. So in recent years, last 3 years or so, we introduced a series of new reforms. Export, Special Economic Zone Act has been enacted. New labor law is now in the offing with the agreement of all the stakeholders. Similarly, new Industrial Enterprise Act, new Foreign Investment and Technology Act, about half a dozen acts with regard to in the field of finance and banking system to strengthen the regulatory and supervisory authority of the central bank and to keep our financial sector complying with the international standards on money laundering, keeping up with the best practices prevalent globally, and countering terror financing. All these new laws and acts have been now introduced in operation, which makes our financial regulations, financial system in line, compatible with international norms, standards, and best practices. And more importantly, as you know, as a result of these reforms, we have more than 12 private airlines in Nepal, dominating our skies. We have telecommunications, foreign investment in telecommunications system, which is already now bigger than our government telecommunications. Similarly, hydropower, more than 40% of the power generation is from private sector. So Nepal is open for more private investment, more foreign investment, practically in every sectors. Nepal has tremendous advantages, especially to those friends, prospective investors who are coming from other countries. I would like to highlight a few advantages that the country has. The country's human capital is our asset. Nepalese, wherever they have gone, have made their mark everywhere. Very hard-working people, very resilient people, and last 2-3 decades have seen tremendous asset in terms of human capital. Thousands of doctors and engineers are serving in various parts of the world. So these hard-working Nepalese, I think this is a low manpower cost, low human resource cost, low labor cost. This is one definite advantage. The other advantage is Nepal has one of the best climates on earth. The biodiversity of Nepal is second to none. Within a limited space of about 200 kilometers or so from northern Himalayas to the flat land, we have practically any type of agroclimatic zone imaginable. That makes possible to make this country a real agro power in high-value products, high-value agricultural products. So this is another asset we have. We have potential to be carbon-free country because of the tremendous hydro potential, solar energy potential. We can make this country without much difficulty a country of clean energy, carbon-free country. We don't have dirty coal. So in the world polluted by dirty coal energy, this country offers, prospect for clean energy. I say clean energy powerhouse. So those industries which want to brand their products from the country of the Himalayas, from the country of the Lord Buddha, carbon-free product from clean energy. This should be a good brand name, good possibility. These are Nepal's possibilities. On the market side, Nepal may be a small market. Because of our national income population, it may be small. But we have preferential trading arrangement with a big country like India. Now we have SAFTA free trade in the SAARC region, huge population of the SAARC region, South Asia. This is our market. Goods may be produced in Nepal, but they can be marketed in South Asia. We have preferential trading arrangement with China also, another huge market, GSP facility from USA, and arms but everything facility from European community. Because of our LDC status, because of our low income status, we have privileges of preferential trading arrangement with major markets in the world. I have been reminded of the time limitation. I don't want to take more of your time. Nepal is a country of great possibilities, tremendous possibilities. I hope in the coming days, the political instability we saw in the past will no longer be there, with guaranteed peace, with good policies and good things. Another thing I just wanted to mention, we, after the hard work of several years, we have developed a model project development agreement, PDA, and that was the basis for, negotiating the 800 megawatt, 900 megawatt Upper Karnali hydro, 800, 900 megawatt Arun 3 project. Similarly, our Upper Trishuli project. So with Indian multinational companies, with Korean multinational companies, another in the offing West City with Chinese multinational corporation. This was of the project development model agreement, which was the basis for negotiating with these projects, now accounting for more than 2,000 megawatts of electricity. Similarly, involving more than $3 billion of investment. So it is a country of tremendous possibilities, and you take advantage of these possibilities. It is time to revive the old spirit of the 90s with greater vigor. We started a phase in 90s that gave some result, but again stunted. Now it is time to reinvigorate, rekindle, and create a new renaissance of industrial investment in Nepal to bring the country, to push the country in the new path of higher growth, social justice, and welfare. With these words, I take leave. Thank you very much.
Dr. Mahak, yes, the spirits are high and the efforts to, I extend my deep-found apologies as well as thank you to Dr. Mahak, Honorable Dr. Mahak, for the natural view on Nepal's efforts in the course of development and of course on the prospects. Yes, the prospects are multifold, many broad, but there is one limit, that is time, both in Nepal's development and today here for us. So we have a compulsion to finish this program by 11 a.m. I'm not sure if we'll meet that. However, I request all our distinguished and honorable guests to kindly be brief as possible and extend us kind cooperation. Thanking you, ladies and gentlemen. Now, without further ado, I want to move on, and without any haste, I have the pleasure of introducing our next keynote speaker, who's also our special guest today, Mr. Jin Lee Koon, the President of Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, who has served as Secretary General of the Multilateral Interim Secretariat, MIS, and also as an alternate executive director for China at the World Bank and the Global Environment Facility, and also as the alternate governor for China at the ADB. Ladies and gentlemen, please join your hands for Mr. Jin Lee Koon.
The Honorable Prime Minister, Ministers, Excellencies, thank you very much. It's truly my great honor to be invited to Nepal Investment Summit, and I'm very much touched by my old friend, Dr. Mahat. I cannot help but reminiscing when we were Hubert Humphrey Fellows in 1987-88. It's 30 years, but it seems like old times, just like all this. And I came to Nepal a couple of times during my service of the Vice President of ADB. I'm very happy to come here to take the first visit in my new capacity. I'm very proud to have Nepal as the founding member, one of the 57 founding members of Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. I am very much committed to be working with your government, your people, and the private sector to make a meaningful difference in the economic and social development in your country through our investment in infrastructure and other productive sectors. We have entered a time of unprecedented change in the world. It is a time when countries are looking to the world stage and re-examining the role they want to play in the future. Countries, regardless of their size, the size of the economy or the size of their population. So we are very much happy to be able to work with all of the countries on an equal footing, big or small. Faced with such a situation, we must then ask ourselves a question. If globalization defined the 20th century, what would define the 21st century? This question is most relevant to the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, which was formed against such a socio-economic backdrop. AIIB was created to foster sustainable economic growth and development, as well as promote regional connectivity and cooperation through investment in infrastructure and other productive sectors. 1 year into operation, we have made important progress in varying respects and have approved a lending program of 1.73 billion US dollars, leveraging a total amount of 12.5 billion US dollars. From where we now stand, I believe internationalism, multilateralism, and AIIB have an important role to play in teaming up with sovereign governments, international organizations, and the private sector to address infrastructure challenge in countries like Nepal. As a multilateral development bank, part of our job is to help countries pick projects that will improve social and economic outcomes without going down the beaten track that leads to environmental degradation and global warming issues we are now grappling with today. Our bank will be a bank with a 21st century governance. We strive to be lean, clean, and green. We don't want to build up a huge bureaucracy. We have zero tolerance for corruption, and we will promote green, sustainable economy. AIIB will act as a facilitator in the capacity of the countries to promote your economic social development. Any projects we finance must be financially sustainable, must be environmentally friendly, and be accepted by the local communities. We do the projects only the way people chose. Our professional team have already visited your country, and right after they came back, they started to process projects. We may be working in your renewable resources such as hydropower. We would be able to promote your economy through tapping your natural resources. And we will be working with your active private sector. That will help build your economy without adding up to the sovereign debt of your country. So we believe you have a huge challenge to address, but with your government and people working in concerted efforts, we are willing also to work with the World Bank, ADB, and other multilateral development institutions with joint hands to do better, faster, and more cost-effective. So we're very much happy to be coming here today, and I would have the wonderful opportunity of engaging your government leaders, ministers, private sector, and I do believe when I leave this summit, I would have some new ideas to push for our cooperation in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Firstly, for your kind presence and, of course, for your very kind words and the positivism and propositions that you bring along. Thank you once again. Ladies and gentlemen, I again take a moment to thank both our distinguished keynote speakers for their very important speeches. And now we turn to our distinguished dignitaries for their statements. Before I invite our first dignitary, allow me to inform you that beginning today, we will be having various panel discussions, plenary sessions, wherein we will be hearing from various experts, national, international, and also those seeking ventures in Nepal. And we do believe that after this 2 days of discourse, deliberation, and interactions, we would come out with a roadmap to move ahead and in collaboration in the future. Well, said that, ladies and gentlemen, I have the pleasure now of inviting Honorable Krishna Bahadur Maharaj, the Deputy Prime Minister of Nepal, also the Minister of Finance, for his remarks.
Chair of Sessions, Honorable Minister of Industry, Navin Joshi, Right Honorable Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal, Dachanda, Honorable former Prime Minister Sherbahadur Deuba, Honorable former Prime Minister K.P. Sharma Oli, President Mr. Jinli Queen, Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, distinguished delegates, investors, and business leaders, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure and privilege to address the august gathering of investors and business leaders coming from different parts of the world. I am confident that your gracious presence will make this event a grand success. After the promulgation of Constitution, Nepal has now entered into an era of economic development. We aim to achieve the sustainable development goals and become a middle-income country by 2030. Therefore, our prime agenda is high and sustainable economic growth and prosperity. We have directed our policies, regulation, resources, and effort toward achieving these agendas. The government of Nepal firmly believes that the public investment alone is not sufficient to attain the growth rate that we aim for. A huge investment from the private sector, both external and internal, is needed for that. The current 14 development plan expects nearly 70% investment from private sector. The amount, however, increased drastically when we accelerate our pace of development. Mr. Chair, we are open for any investment that is supportive to Nepal's economic development. We have a number of virgin areas for investment where the private sector investors can come without any hesitation. The government is committed to create a conducive environment for this purpose. A number of policies and legal reform initiatives are being taken to develop Nepal as an attractive destination for political investors. Laws related to foreign investment, labor industries, relation and public-private partnerships are being drafted and soon be submitted to the Legislative Parliament for its approval. In addition, the effort to simplify the procedures are underway. I am pleased to note that we have slightly improved the doing business indicators and working to make them better. We are also developing the investment-friendly infrastructure. We are working hard to make 24-hour energy supply, which was one of the major hurdles for investors. Although our periodic plans recognize the importance role the foreign direct investment in expanding the export base of the Nepal, goods and services, we are yet to see the significant investment from the external investors. We have recently passed the SAGE laws, which enable already constructed phase to operationalize soon. Few more sets are also being constructed. These will be a good avenues for the foreign direct investment board of Nepal is determined to provide one step for service for investor. We have devised several incentive packages for the infrastructure investment. I believe this will be the share to you during the sessions today and tomorrow. Further different initiatives are being taken and we are confident that we will get the positive results in the days to come. Therefore, I encourage you to come to Nepal with open mind. If you observe any obstacle, be in the legal or procedural, please let us know. We will try to resolve them with highest priority. We have signed bilateral investment promotion and proclamation agreement as well as double taxation avoidance agreement with several countries. These not only protect your investment in Nepal, but also give the investors and ease tax regime. Moreover, enough provision are there to repatriate your investment. Mr. Chair, let me take this opportunity to brief about the public investment which is catalyzed to private investment. We have witnessed in past few years that the execution of capital budget was slow. While we need more than 7% sustained economic growth rate to become middle income country by 2030. The average growth rate is decade stood at mere 4%. The major reason for this low growth rate is nothing but the low capital budget spending. Further studies show that infrastructure investment need in Nepal is around 9% of GDP against 5% currently. I feel that this estimate is also in a lower side. We need to invest at least 10% of GDP in infrastructure. Many of the investors are worried about the market, which I think is a genuine concern. As Nepal is located between two large countries, economies, India and China. The market of 2.5 billion population is survival for it. The trade and transit agreement we have with our neighbors give opportunities for the export. Moreover, as for the bilateral framework for trade and transit, trade with India, most of all Nepalese infrastructure produce enjoy access to the Indian market free of the basis custom duty. This arrangement not only provide lucrative access and rapidly growing Indian market, but also the South Asian region. I now do not need to elaborate more how Nepal is in the perfect position to tap such huge market. In order to make investor aware of the investable infrastructure project in the Nepal, the government has created Project Bank. This bank service serve the need of the both public and private investment. We are ready to share this from which the investors can pick the choice of their project to invest. However, we welcome the investor to come up with own innovative projects for which we will facilitate maximum. Finally, I am confident that this meeting will be the good platform for you to discuss about the investment potential and opportunity in Nepal. This forum is also an opportunity for us to invite you to long-term investment in the Nepal. I once again would strongly like to encourage you to invest in Nepal. I wish Summit a grand success. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Dr. Krishna Bharadwaj. Thank you especially for the assurances and commitment, and also for shedding light on and giving us a picture of the prospective areas for investment and Nepal's need. Thank you once again. Ladies and gentlemen, to those especially who will be with us today and tomorrow, it's furnishing to your comments, questions, queries is of our utmost priority and of primary concern. So if you have any comments, any queries, any issues that you want to talk or say, you can kindly visit the information booth that is just outside this hall around the lobby. So find your way towards the information desk and you can seek help from the desk there. Also, we have developed a form like this, a letter of intent for the key investors from Nepal and abroad. If you have any intent of filling up this form and registering your pledges and your commitments with us or your interest with us, you can kindly find your way again back to the information desk, and please seek this information, this sheet of paper, this form, to register your interest and intent with us. Thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen. And yes, with so much accomplished, you just heard from our distinguished and honorable guest a little ahead, with so much accomplished, Nepal is finally settling down and to embark forward towards greater aspirations. And at this point, I'm sure we all are very much keen to hear from the chiefs of the two major parties who are present with us. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure first and foremost to invite to the podium for his statements, especially for the commitments at this very important occasion, Honorable KP Sharma Oli, the chairman of CPM Yamal.
Mr. Chairman of the program, Right Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Chairman of Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, Ministers, Excellencies, distinguished investors, participants, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, I am very happy to be here amongst you in this very important forum and getting opportunity to address to this forum. I was thinking to speak few points about the environment of investment in Nepal, but Dr. Mohat already explained in detail. And after that, just before, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, they said that, please come to invest in Nepal. Here is conducive atmosphere for investment, and he told, if there is any problem, please contact us, we will resolve the problem. Then I think the assurance is complete. And now, one assurance is left that I would like to complete. On behalf of the opposition party, I am a leader of the opposition party, and I would like to assure you that on the question of economic development, on the question of foreign investment, Treasury bench and opposition, government and opposition are always together in Nepal. I would like to assure you that now we are in opposition, but we are not even a single step behind than the government on the question of economic development and eagerness of foreign investment. Now, we have promulgated the Constitution in 2015, and a political situation is developing towards stability. Now our focus, or we are focusing on the economic development of our country, and for that we need your support, we need your investment, and for your investment, we need to provide favorable situation, environment, atmosphere. And we were talking here with Dr. Mahat that in Nepal, there is easy access. Even to the Prime Minister, you can meet, even to the Industry Minister, even to the Finance Minister, or everybody you can easily meet them and tell them if there are any problems, as the Finance Minister said. Easy access. So on behalf of, without consuming unnecessarily longer time, I have only a little bit longer speech. I don't want to go on this. I think it's enough. On behalf of the opposition, I would like to assure you. And I think perhaps last year, in the time of my premiership, what type of economic endeavors and initiatives I took, perhaps everybody knows. And we are in that direction even now. We are happy that here we have Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank's chairman and investors and excellencies from different countries. You are welcome. Not only in this program, but investment in Nepal, to investment. You are welcome. I would like to thank the organizers for providing me this opportunity. I don't want to take longer time. I wish the grand success of this program, and it will be a program, a summit of success. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Mr. K.P. Sharma Oli. Firstly, we reciprocate our elation for your presence and your very, very encouraging words, and thank you for the beautiful portrait of Nepal. Indeed, it's a willful land of immense splendors, beauty, and prospects. I'd like to add accessibility as well. Thank you once again. Ladies and gentlemen, now I have the pleasure of inviting Honorable Sher Bahadur Deuba, the President of Nepali Congress.
chair of this summit, Honorable Rabindra Joshi ji, Right Honorable Prime Minister, the President of Asian Manufacturers of Bank, Mr. Jim, former Prime Minister K.P. Sarvapati, Excellencies, political leaders, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, I don't want to compete by speaking extent, but I have written statement that I would like to read it. I am pleased to join you here today to express my sincere and complete commitment to attracting large-scale private investment aimed at rapid economic growth in Nepal. As the president of the largest political party in Nepal, I can assure you that our words are backed by our deeds. The Nepali Congress has not only led the major political revolutions, but I've also been a force of economic opening and transformation over the past 70 years. After the restoration of democracy in 1990, we laid a process economic reform to pull the country out of decades of stagnation. With liberal trade and enterprise policies, we created vast space for private sector to contribute to the economy. New sectors like aviation, banking, and telecommunication were opened for private investment. With reform in public finance, currency, and licensing, we created the environment for economic growth to reach an historical high of early 90s. By allowing private and non-governmental actors to provide health and education services, we also laid a durable foundation of social progress. Nepal today stands out in the South Asia region for dramatically reducing poverty and meeting almost all the Millennium Development Goals. Ladies and gentlemen, we believe in a liberal economy with a vibrant private sector, but also support a strong state that regulates smartly, ensure that economic gains are shared broadly across society. We are proud that our private sector today has come of age, and it is at the forefront of creating wealth and jobs in a sector where Nepali holds immense promises. We are not complacent, however. We need to do much more to catch up with our peers. Our economic growth has historically been slow and sluggish. To create new jobs on an epic scale for our young population, we need massive investment from smart energy grids, tourism and agriculture, ICT and transport. We now see bolder and bigger partnership with foreign investors. In an era of climate change, we hope to be self-sufficient in clean energy and to displace the fossil fuel power transport network. New investment in airport is needed to connect Nepal to the global economy. Given the frequency of natural disaster, our infrastructure would need to be built to allow a rapid response and flexibility. Nepal's strategic location between China and India is our greatest asset. By integrating closely with our neighbors, we expect flow of trade, investment, and tourism to lift our prospect in such a manner that our goal is becoming middle-income country by 2030 within these. Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, we have been distracted in recent decades by armed conflict, post-conflict transition. Society in Nepal today is a forward-looking country with a progressive new constitution that aims to build an inclusive representative of its diversity. What we need now is a matching ambition on the economic front. We must instill hope and project a credible path to prosperity for the nearly 30 million Nepalese who are increasingly educated, politically conscious, and globally connected. I believe we now need to reclaim the original spirit of reform that we have unleashed in 1990s by expressing the following commitments. First, we will pursue a second generation of economic reform, updating laws and policies on foreign direct investment, public-private partnership, labor, intellectual property, investment protection, and capital mobility. Second, will expedite quality public investment in physical and human infrastructure so that we crowd in foreign and domestic private investment. We want to ease our glaring deficit in skills, finance and technology. Third, we will adapt to shift an economic geography as well as technology to take a greater advantage of historic rise of our Asian neighbors. We will adopt new mode of trade and production that will help us leapfrog. Ladies and gentlemen, within a solemn place, I invite all foreign and national entrepreneurs, as well as our growing diaspora, to consider Nepal as a critical location for large investment. With 3 elections this year, we are on the path of consolidating democracy and making it accountable and effective. Along with this, we now want your help to build a robust private sector that creates jobs, pay taxes, and foster innovations. Let me conclude by assuring you that our young citizens are hungry for change and opportunities. Politicians realize that national priority now must shift toward achievable economic goals, and there is a conducive global environment for investment in areas that relate themselves to sustainable economic transformation. That is why we welcome and invite you to forge constructive partnership with Nepali farmers. I am convinced that there has never been a better time for investment in Nepal, and therefore I thank our government for putting together this important summit. I expect this to trigger major international interest and wave of tangible investment initiative in Nepal in the days ahead. I wish all you a successful conference and a pleasant stay in Nepal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Sher Bahadur Deoga, for the positivism and strong beliefs and the acknowledgements of the opportunities, needs, and of Nepal that you just put forth in front of us. Thank you once again. Ladies and gentlemen, as we all come together, looking ahead towards a new era, a new decade in Nepal, we indeed would want to take this forum to thank or to extend our gratitude to both the leaders for the sensitivity that they have shown towards Nepal's development and the welfare, which is reflected in your presence and the messages that you have sent out today. Thank you once again, Honorable K.P. Sharma Oli, Honorable Sher Bahadur Deoba. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, with this, we set out now to the most important moment of this ceremony. That is the very special address by the chief guest, Right Honorable Prime Minister of Nepal, Mr. Pushpakamal Dahal Prachanda. I place my humble request to our chief guest for his remarks.
A very good morning to everybody. Chair of the program, former Prime Ministers of Nepal, Deputy Prime Minister and Ministers of my cabinet, Mr. G. Lee Queen, President of the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, investor, business person, friends from media, ladies and gentlemen. I feel honored to address this gathering of distinguished personalities coming from various countries and organizations at this edition of Nepal Investment Summit. This is an important forum that brings government, private sector and foreign investors together to deliberate on the vital issue of the investment. I have prepared a written statement, but I think that detailed explanation has been made by our former finance minister, current finance minister, former prime minister and everybody. Therefore, I think that it is not necessary to elaborate more about the conducive atmosphere Nepalese government is trying to create for the investment here in Nepal. As all of you know that we are passing through a tremendous political change. We are having a very unique experience of peace agreement. We succeed a successful story of comprehensive peace agreement. And we created a very conducive atmosphere for political stability after the promulgation of the constitution last year. And now we want to focus our whole attention in the economic development. And this very important summit, I believe that will create a favorable and positive atmosphere. As all of you know that our rules and regulations, we are trying our best to be more and more favorable and conducive for foreign direct investment and for the private sector, and everybody, they can feel comfortable. And all these things has already been explained. And I also want to mention that all the political leaders of major political party, they have a unanimous understanding about the investment, about the economic issue. You have already seen our leader of the opposition has clearly mentioned that I am one step forward to the government for the economic development. Therefore, on the issue of the economic development, there is not any debate. We all want to focus our whole attention on the economic issue. We understand very well that sustainable peace is not possible without having a proper process of economic development. And peace and development are quite interrelated. We are in between two big neighbors, and their fast-growing economy has clearly created the atmosphere that we must be benefited from the economic development of our neighbors. Therefore, government is trying its best to create that atmosphere. And all these issues has already been explained. Therefore, I do not want to elaborate more. I only want to assure all of you that there is a political stability, there is a political good understanding between political parties, and everybody want to create the atmosphere of public-private partnership. We understand very well the importance of private sector and all these things that is going on all over the world. Therefore, we want to be benefited, and I wish that this summit will come with a good deliberation. And I only want to assure from the part of my government that everything, rules, regulation, political atmosphere, and all other things will be created in a very positive sense, because we passed a very unique experience and bitter experience of the past decades. Now we want to use all the opportunity for the economic development. I once again want to assure that government is committed to create that kinds of conducive atmosphere. I wish every success of this summit. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Right Honourable Prime Minister, for your very, very valuable words. Of course, for your leadership, concern, and the firm determination to tread the country into the path of progression. Yes, indeed, we cannot agree more. The beauty, as the Right Honourable Prime Minister states, the beauty of Nepal and Nepali lies in the unity when it comes to national development. Thank you, Right Honourable Prime Minister, once again. Ladies and gentlemen, said that we are now headed to towards the close, but before that we have a small formality to accomplish, and that is memento, a souvenir to be presented to our distinguished keynote speakers. And to do the honors, I have the pleasure of requesting the chairperson of this program, Honorable Minister of Industry, Mr. Navindra Raj Joshi. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Minister will be presenting the souvenir memento to our keynote speakers. First and foremost, Honorable Dr. Ram Sharan Mahad. And then to a special guest, Mr. Jin Lee Kun, the President of Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. Thank you, Honourable Minister. Thank you, our distinguished keynote speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, with this now we arrive almost to the end of this inauguration ceremony. And now for the vote of thanks and for the formal closure of this ceremony, I have the pleasure of inviting Mr. Mahaprasad Adhikari, the CEO, Investment Board of Nepal.
Good morning, Chairperson, Honorable Minister for Industry, Navindra Raj Joshi, Right Honorable Chief Guest, Right Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Pushpa Kamal Dahal Chandraju, Honorable Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister, Mr. Krishna Bahal Maharaju, Right Honorable former Prime Minister and President Nepali Congress, Sir Bahadur Devaju, Right Honorable former Prime Minister and Chairman of the CPN UML, Mr. KP Oliju, special guest, Mr. Jin Lee Kun, President Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, former Finance Minister, Honorable Dr. Ramsar Mahadju, Honorable Minister of State, Minister of Industry, Honorable Ministers, likewise, Honorable Vice Chairman, Governor of Nepal Rashtra Bank, Secretaries, former Secretaries, Excellencies, Head of Chairman of the Chairman and President of the Multinational and Business Federation, Head of the Foreign Delegates, respected distinguished guests, and media person. On behalf of organizing committee, I would like to express our sincere gratitude to our Right Honorable Prime Minister distinguished chief guest of this opening ceremony, for his presence despite an extremely busy schedule. Your presence and the address on this occasion shows the government's and national commitment in this occasion, creating an investment-friendly environment. Thank you, sir, for accepting our chief guest and inaugurating and addressing the program. I'd also like to express sincere gratitude to Honorable Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister for Nepal, Mr. Krishna Bahadur Mahara, for your presence and addressing the occasion. Similarly, I'd also like to thank all Honorable Minister for your kind presence and all State Minister for your kind presence, showing the government's priority and commitment for the foreign investment. I'd also like to express our gratitude to the Right Honorable former Prime Minister and President of Nepali Congress, Mr. Sher Bahadur Deuba, for your gracious presence in addressing the audience. Likewise, I'd also like to express our sincere gratitude to Right Honorable former Prime Minister, Chairman of the CPN UML, and also the Leader of the Opposition in the Parliament, Mr. K. Sharma Oli, for your presence and addresses. Right Honorable Prime Minister Sir and former Prime Minister Sir, your views and every words are meaningful to the potential investor. Your political commitments are clear to all of us, which is what clearer today even to the potential foreign investor. Such political commitment would definitely helpful towards realizing the Nepal's economic potentials. I'd also like to welcome and express our gratitude to respected President of Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, Mr. Jean Lequin. Mr. President, we are delighted to have you here in the summit and your keynote address. You must have noticed that one of your founder member is facing critical infrastructure deficit. Considering the unexplored potentiality and huge infrastructure deficit, Nepal should be one of your bankable customer, by which AIIB could be one of the instrumental partner for Nepalese economic prosperity. I'd also like to thank the Honorable former Finance Minister and the Member of Parliament, Dr. Ram Saran Math, for your presence and keynote address. Your initiation towards the open and liberal economy yielded significant benefit and attracting investment in the country. I'd also like to thank the Honorable Finance Minister of India, Mr. Arun Jaitley, for gracing the event with its presence. We are very much appreciated the government of India role as a facilitator in SJBN's Urban 3 investment decision. We look forward to his arrival and keynote address in this afternoon. I'd also like to extend my gratitude to all delegates and respective authorities for your kind presence and taking interest in investment here in Nepal. The foreign participation on this summit is highly encouraging. We are honored to welcome business leaders, representatives from business associations, diplomatic missions, several public and private organizations, including NRN. Your grand presence encourages us to work more on the reform and work closely to share the prosperity. I would also like to express my gratitude to all excellencies and representatives of diplomatic missions for their presence. Your continuous support and communication will be critical in advancing Nepal's status as a favorable investment destination in the coming years. I would also like to express our gratitude to Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Nepalese embassies and mission abroad for their communication and cooperation for the summit. I'd also like to express our gratitude to Ministry of Home Affairs for the security and immigration support to the summit delegates. I'd also like to express our gratitude to National Planning Commission for their support as co-organizer and providing resources to the summit. I'm grateful for the support of FNCCI, CNI, FNCSI, NCC, FWIN, ANMIN, in helping us put together this summit. I'd also like to thank the representatives from the media for their fair and accurate coverage of the event. Furthermore, I'd also like to thank Hotel Swati for providing us with a splendid venue and our event manager company, The Imagine. I also thank security personnel and volunteers. I'd also like to acknowledge the roles of all session chairs, moderators and panelists. Your thoughts, views expressed in the session and the issues and feedbacks will ultimately help us in refining our investment promotion policies and programs. I'd like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to the Ministry of Industry, the Honorable Minister, Chair of the Organizing Steering Committee, member of the Steering Committee, State Minister, Secretary, Coordinator, and member of the working group, and my colleagues at the Investment Board Nepal for their hard work. I am equally grateful to all the line ministries and agencies and respective Honorable Minister for their active participation in making Nepal Investment Summit 2017 a success one. Finally, I'd also like to express my sincere thanks to Jin Lee, who has acted as an interpreter, particularly for the Chinese language. Thank you, Jin Lee. Finally, I'd like to express a deep gratitude to local participants, NRN participants, and international delegates for participating in the event. We hope this event provides you the platform to network, seek out new business partnerships and opportunities, and share your comments and concerns. Your open and honest feedback is crucial to the success of this summit and beyond. An event of this magnitude cannot happen without a month of advanced preparation in a large team from multiple government, non-government, and private sector institutions. I therefore thank each person and institution involved in making Nepal Investment Summit 2017 happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And now, with the permission of the chair, I announce the session adjourned.